Hey everybody, Greg Wall, founder of Neorth, sometimes called a leadership architect. 2 weeks ago, I spoke at an event called Motivating Yourself from Kicking Off 2026. The topic is rebuilding yourself to become a better leader. And I thought I would do a quick recap of what I talked about. The story starts back when I was 20, doing what all 20-year-olds do, hanging out with buddies, going to bars, seeing bands. We were headed out of town to go see a band play, and we slammed head on into another car. When I got to the hospital, doctors told me it should have killed me. They told me I wouldn't function normally again. When I think back on it, the hardest part wasn't the pain. It was losing a version of myself that I trusted, and my confidence in my own mind and body. I didn't rebuild myself with hope. I rebuilt myself with lots of rehab and support. One movement, one decision, one day at a time. And years later, as a leader, I felt something similar. I recognized something familiar. It was the day I realized the version of myself just didn't work anymore. And so I ask you, are you leading from an outdated version of yourself? For me, that realization didn't come all at once. It came the same way my recovery did, through small moments where what I used to do stopped working. After the crash, I had to learn how to walk again, trust my body. And years later, it stuck with me as something I used to learn and change the way I view leadership. Rebuilding does not start with some big insight or strategy. It starts simply with humble practice, slowly and repetitively. You don't become calm overnight. You don't be able to start making decisions because you read a book. You don't regain your confidence through affirmation. You rebuild it by practicing differently. You rebuild it with small steps and habits. And I ask, what leadership habit would you like to relearn from the very beginning? But if I think more about this, what surprised me most, just like in rehab, most of the time we're not focused on the real issue. We're just trying to make the pain stop. And for years, doctors and therapists treated my pain. Until one day I met a surgeon who said, your disc won't heal because your back is broken. You think you need surgery, when really what you need to do is create negative pressure to allow the discs to heal naturally. And that changed everything. We do this as leaders. We try to fix exhaustion with vacation, insecurity with authority, uncertainty with control. But all we're really doing is managing symptoms. And so I ask, what are you trying to manage in yourself that might actually need another approach? And this is where the real shift begins. Not in your role, not in your strategy, but in how you see yourself as a leader. Early leadership is about proving you're capable, proving you deserve the role, proving you have all the answers. You move fast, carry everything. You fix what breaks. And for a while, this feels like confidence. But it's not. It's just performance. Real confidence doesn't come from knowing. It comes from being willing to not know and still be present anyways. And that's where vulnerability begins. Vulnerability is not a weakness. It's the moment you stop protecting the old version of yourself. Control feels safe as a leader, especially when you don't trust yourself yet. It feels like certainty. Some might say it feels like leadership. But control is just fear wrapped in urgency. And clarity requires something harder. It requires curiosity. Curiosity, which means you listen to learn. Curiosity that will let you say, I might be wrong. There's something here I don't see. Help me understand. And when curiosity replaces control, something changes. Your teams stop waiting. They stop performing. And they start thinking. Because this isn't a system shift. This is a self shift. Because clarity only shows up when you trust yourself enough to stop being the answer. The shift is this: from proving to trusting to clarifying. Vulnerability is what lets you stop protecting who you were, and curiosity is what lets you discover who you're becoming. And I would ask you to reflect on, where are you controlling instead of clarifying right now? And when the shift starts to happen, something else shows up. The part of you that's been trying to get your attention all along. In the hospital, pain was the only way my body could communicate. It didn't use words. It used sensations. If something hurt, it meant something wasn't right or aligned yet. And leadership works exactly the same way. That tension you carry home, the reactivity you don't even recognize anymore, the fatigue that doesn't go away after a week. These aren't personal failures. They're signals. They're telling you that something in how you're leading is no longer sustainable for who you are now. And most leaders will try to push through this. They normalize the pain. They call it the cost of doing leadership. But pain isn't the cost. Pain is the message. And when you finally stop numbing it, it becomes the most honest data you have. And so, what is your own leadership pain trying to tell you right now? Because if you listen long enough, pain just doesn't tell you what's wrong. It tells you who you're ready to become. When a bone heals, it heals stronger where it broke. It doesn't return to what it was. It becomes something more capable of carrying weight. And rebuilding yourself as a leader works the same way. You don't go back to who you were when everything felt easier. You become steadier. Someone who doesn't need to perform. Someone who can hold on to complexity without tightening up. Leadership rebuilds aren't about doing more. They're about becoming truer. That's what this entire journey has taught me. Rebuilding yourself isn't about getting back to normal. It's about becoming something that you're more capable of. And so I ask you, what's one small way you could lead differently tomorrow?